Level 1. The window. You are 28 years old and you have a company van, a set of master keys, and a spreadsheet that tells you which houses are occupied on which days. You work for a property management company that services vacation homes and second properties, the kind of houses people buy so they have somewhere to go on long weekends, then mostly don't. You check pipes. You replace filters. You walk through rooms that nobody has been in for weeks and make sure nothing has gone wrong. You are good at your job and your job pays you $31,000 a year, and you have been fine with that until recently. The first time is not a decision. It is a Tuesday in January, and you are at a property in the Lake District that has been empty since before Thanksgiving. The owners are in Florida until March. You are there to check the heating before a cold snap. You walk through the main bedroom on your way to the utility panel, and there is a jewelry box on the dresser that someone left behind when they packed for winter. You open it because you are curious. Inside is a tennis bracelet, white gold, round stones across the full length, the kind of thing that sits in a box more than it gets worn. You look at it for a moment. You put it in your jacket pocket. You check the heating. You lock the house behind you and drive away. 3 weeks later, you take it to an estate jewelry shop 2 counties over. A man named Gary runs it. Short gray hair, flannel shirt, a back room full of things people sold him without explaining where they came from. He looks at the bracelet under a loupe for about 40 seconds and offers you $1,800. The bracelet is worth $4,000. You know this because you looked it up before you drove over. You take the $1,800 because arguing about the margin would require explaining where you got it. You go back to work on Wednesday. Nobody calls. Nobody asks. The owners won't be back until March, and by March they will assume they packed it and can't find it, or left it at their daughter's house, or any of the 20 other explanations a person generates before they consider theft. You do it 3 more times over the following 4 months. Different properties, different pieces. A ring from a property in the hill towns. 2 necklaces from a lakefront house whose owners use it for exactly 1 week every August and leave everything else behind year-round. Gary buys all of it. The prices are always low and the process is always the same. He looks, he offers, you take it, you leave. No paperwork. No questions. His business model depends on not asking. $11,200 across 4 thefts, and your daily life has not changed at all. You still drive the same van. You still check the same pipes. You still have the spreadsheet. You develop one rule. Only take from properties where the owners have been absent for more than 2 weeks. Only take 1 piece per property, never 2. Never take anything that is the only piece in the box, because a piece missing from a collection reads as misplaced, and a collection that's entirely gone reads as theft. The rule is not about ethics. It is about detection. You have thought about detection more carefully than you expected to, which tells you something about yourself that you don't examine too closely. The 5th property has a better collection than the others. A whole shelf of pieces, rings, earrings, a strand of pearls, 2 bracelets. You take 1 piece, and then you take another. 2 pieces from 1 property. You close the box, put both in your pocket, lock the house, drive away. You tell yourself it is the last time you take 2. Driving home, you run the numbers in your head. 5 properties. 12 pieces total. $11,200. You have visited 47 properties this year through the company. 47 properties with alarm codes you know, owners who are gone for weeks at a time, and no audit of what you find when you get there. You start thinking about which ones you would choose if you were choosing deliberately. Level 2. The job. You stop doing it accidentally. You start doing it deliberately. The distinction matters because once you start planning, the handyman work is no longer the job. It is the research. The spreadsheet that tells you which properties are occupied tells you everything else too. Which owners travel internationally and for how long. Which properties have been on the same alarm code for more than a year because nobody has ever had a reason to change it. Which collections you have seen during routine inspections, and which pieces in those collections are the kind of thing that serious buyers pay serious money for without asking serious questions. Gary has a ceiling. The ceiling is whatever Gary decides is too expensive for him to move without attracting attention to himself. Above that number, he has a contact he doesn't use often and doesn't discuss. You ask him about the contact on a Tuesday afternoon in February. Gary thinks about it for about 10 seconds. Then he tells you a name. Marcus handles the high-value end. He doesn't run a shop. He operates through private buyers, collectors who want specific pieces that don't exist anywhere they can be bought legitimately, which means they don't ask about provenance because asking about provenance would require them to answer questions about themselves they prefer not to answer. Marcus takes 30% and delivers cash within 7 days. You find this arrangement acceptable. The first planned entry is in March. A lakefront property you have serviced for 2 years. The owners leave for Europe every spring in the 3rd week of March and come back in the 1st week of May. 6 weeks, reliable as a calendar. The alarm code hasn't changed in 18 months because nobody had a reason to change it. During a February inspection, you identified a piece in the main bedroom collection. A sapphire pendant on a white gold chain, the kind of thing that gets appraised and photographed for insurance, and then sits in a box for the other 11 months of the year. You are in and out in 7 minutes. Marcus sells it to a private buyer in another state 2 weeks later for $31,000. Your cut after his 30% is $21,700. You deposit nothing. You spend it slowly. Over the following year, you run 9 planned entries. You develop a second rule. Never enter a property you have personally serviced in the past 60 days. If you are ever a suspect, the first thing anyone checks is which properties you had recent legitimate access to. 60 days is enough distance to make the connection improbable without investigation. With investigation, it would hold for 30 days. You decide improbable is enough. You wear gloves on every entry. You vary your exit routes. You time yourself from the door to the door, and you are never inside for more than 8 minutes, which is 2 minutes inside the average silent alarm response window for the residential monitoring companies that service this region. You keep Gary for anything under 8,000. You use Marcus for anything above it. They don't know about each other, and you don't introduce them. Gary thinks you are clearing out estate pieces from properties you manage on behalf of absent owners. This is close enough to true that he doesn't think about it further. $143,000 in 12 months. You give 2 weeks' notice at the property management company in February. They ask if you found something better. You tell them you're starting your own business. They wish you luck and ask you to return the keys. You return 41 of the 47 keys. The other 6 belong to properties whose owners haven't checked their key holders in years and aren't going to start now. You keep the alarm codes in a notebook stored in a locked box in your apartment. When codes change, you get the new ones through former colleagues who still trust you. The ceiling on the 2nd year is not money. It is security. The properties with the highest value collections, the ones with the pieces Marcus's buyers specifically want, have layered alarm systems that you cannot defeat with what you know. Motion sensors on independent circuits. Cellular backup panels that can't be cut from outside. Monitoring response times under 5 minutes that leave no room for error. You can get past any one layer. You cannot get past 2. You need someone who knows the systems from the inside. Level 3. The crew. Working alone has a ceiling. You reached it in the 2nd year. The properties with the collections worth taking have security you cannot defeat with what you know, which means you need someone who knows the systems from the inside. Marcus makes the introduction. Ellis spent 8 years as a commercial security installer before he decided that knowing how systems work was worth more than installing them. He doesn't do entries. He has never entered a property that wasn't his and has no intention of starting. What he does is consult. For 20% of whatever the job produces, he tells you which alarm systems have exploitable firmware vulnerabilities, which monitoring companies have documented response gaps, and which panel models can be defeated using tools with legitimate commercial uses. He provides this information remotely. He is never within a mile of the property when the entry happens. The crew is 3 people. You, Ellis on technical, and a driver named Kim who parks 2 blocks away and waits. Kim has worked with Ellis before. She doesn't ask what's in the properties and doesn't need to know. Her job is the car and the route and the phone in her hand counting the same minutes you are counting inside. She is paid a flat fee per job, cash within 48 hours. You run 6 entries over 8 months. Each one uses intelligence from the spreadsheet and the remaining keys from the property management job, cross-referenced against Ellis's assessment of the security infrastructure. Each one is cleaner than the last. The average time inside drops from 8 minutes to 5.5. Nothing triggers. Nobody calls the police. The properties are vacation homes and second residences whose owners don't check their insurance records carefully enough to notice specific pieces missing from larger collections. You generate $218,000 across the 6 jobs. Gary takes the lower value pieces. Marcus moves the rest to private buyers whose names you never know. Marcus comes to you in October with a specific target. A private collection. A widow in her 70s whose late husband spent 40 years as an estate jewelry dealer. The collection is documented in a comprehensive insurance appraisal from 3 years ago. Marcus has a copy. His buyer wants one specific piece, a 4.2 carat oval diamond in a platinum setting, appraised at $320,000. The buyer has been looking for exactly this stone for 2 years. The transaction is already arranged. Marcus needs the stone. The widow's travel schedule is posted by her daughter on social media. Updates about her mother's visits that include dates without meaning to. The daughter lives 2 states away. She posts photographs. The widow goes in November for 3 weeks every year. The same 3 weeks, she has gone every November since her husband died 4 years ago. Ellis assesses the property in 2 days. Standard residential monitoring system, 8-year-old firmware, a known vulnerability in the cellular backup module. The response window is 11 minutes. You have 9. You go in on a Thursday night. Ellis defeats the panel from the street. Kim is in the parking lane around the corner. You are inside for 6 minutes and 40 seconds. You take 11 pieces from the collection, the oval diamond in its platinum setting, 10 others selected from the insurance appraisal Marcus provided. The widow is at her daughter's house 2 states away. You do not think about her at all. The oval diamond goes to Marcus. The other 10 pieces split between Gary and a second buyer Marcus identified through his network. Within 6 weeks, everything is moved except the oval diamond. Marcus is moving it carefully. He tells you there is a specific process for a stone this size, and this documented. You trust his judgment. He has earned it. What Marcus does not tell you is that the stone has a GA laser inscription, a microscopic certificate number etched into the girdle of the diamond by the Gemological Institute of America, invisible to the naked eye, readable under magnification, permanently linked to the stone's specific characteristics in a database that every legitimate jeweler and auction house consults as standard procedure. Marcus knows about the inscription. He is handling the stone carefully because of it. You don't know because you didn't ask. In 3 years of taking pieces through Gary and Marcus, you have never once asked what was on a stone beyond what it looked like and what it was worth. Nothing has ever come back. You have no reason to start asking now. Level 4. The Vault. There is a jewelry trade show held every November at a downtown hotel. Dealers bring inventory. Private collectors bring pieces for appraisal. The hotel's safe deposit room on the lower level holds an estimated $12 to $15 million in stones and settings over the 4 days of the event, the highest concentration of portable high-value assets in the region in any given year. Ellis has been studying the hotel's security infrastructure for 6 months. The vault room uses a panel model he installed himself in a commercial job 9 years ago. He knows the service corridor camera runs on a maintenance loop every 3rd Wednesday between 11 and 1 because he checked it 3 weeks ago during a legitimate building inspection. The loop is 42 minutes. You have 35 if you enter at 11:15. You go in on the 2nd night. Ellis is in the service corridor. Kim is in the parking structure on the west side. The corridor camera is on the loop. Ellis defeats the panel in 4 minutes. You are inside the vault room at 11:22. You take from 6 deposit boxes, pieces that dealers bring for informal trading, the ones they don't register at the front desk because registration takes 20 minutes and the informal trades move faster than that. Stones loose in cloth pouches. Bracelets without certificates. You are out in 9 minutes. The elevator back to the lobby is empty. You walk through the hotel bar at 11:47 and nobody looks at you because you are dressed like someone who belongs at a hotel bar and there is no reason to look. The next morning, 6 dealers report missing inventory. Total reported value across all 6 boxes, $2.1 million. The hotel's security footage shows nothing in the service corridor during the relevant window. The police have no suspects and no leads. Ellis is already in another city. Kim drove home and went asleep. You check into a hotel room on a different floor and order room service and watch the news at 6 in the morning. What breaks it is not the vault job. It is the widow's oval diamond. 6 weeks before the vault job, Marcus's secondary contact quietly consigned the oval diamond to a pre-auction preview at a regional jewelry house. The sale didn't close. The contact withdrew the piece. But the catalog entry remained in the preview database. The stone described, the carat weight and cut noted, the provenance listed as private collection. One of the 6 dealers whose boxes were taken at the vault job registers every stone he travels with using GIA certificates, a habit from 20 years of insurance claims. He files the certificate numbers with his insurer within 24 hours of the theft. The insurer's database runs a cross-reference. One of the numbers it returns is not from his box. It is the widow's oval diamond, flagged from the preview catalog entry, connected by carat weight, and cut to the insurance appraisal filed when the widow reported the theft 8 months earlier. The FBI has been watching Marcus for 14 months. Not because of your case. Because 3 other pieces from 3 other jobs in 2 other states moved through his network and surfaced through routine provenance checks at legitimate dealers. When the oval diamond surfaces, they already know the network. The vault job puts a second open investigation against the same distribution chain. Marcus cooperates within 72 hours. Ellis cooperates in 48. He never touched a property. His cooperation is clean, and his information about the hotel job is complete. Kim cooperates before the first interview ends. She was always 2 blocks away. She has been cooperative since the moment she understood what cooperative meant. You are arrested on a Thursday morning in your hotel room. The GIA certificate for the widow's oval diamond is in the insurance file. The vault job adds 6 counts of burglary and 2 counts of interstate transport of stolen property. The widow attends 3 days of the trial. She identifies every piece from her collection at the evidence review. She knows each one by name. You serve 5 years. When you come out, the only employer interested in your specific knowledge of residential security vulnerabilities, alarm system weaknesses, and high-value jewelry provenance is an insurance company that investigates jewelry theft claims across the region. You review surveillance footage. You read police reports. You look at the entry point and the timeline, and you know exactly what happened before anyone tells you. The certificate was always in the file. Nobody looked at it until someone tried to sell the stone.